911, what's your emergency?
At Intellitech, providing safe, secure software with superior support isn't just words, it's a belief and a lifestyle that we breathe every day.
Computer-aided dispatch, jail management, full Esri mapping. We illuminate opportunities to help our agencies become incredibly successful in their public safety mission.
It's rewarding because at the end of the day, I know I've made a difference for someone.
We know how critical your operation is, and we are uniquely positioned to be the difference maker for you now and well into the future. Intellitech, one company, committed.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for taking time to join us here at the Data Mark Rise virtual public safety conference as we wrap up the last day of our sessions. I want to welcome and thank everybody for joining us today. I'm honored to be here with Brian MacMurdo as he presents his presentation on personal and professional adversity. I'll be moderating your session. My name is Bob Murphy from the Data Mark team. I have the pleasure of being our business development director. And before we begin today's session, I'd like everyone to know that we are recording this session and all attendees have been muted for quality assurance purposes. We do highly encourage questions throughout the use of the presentation. We encourage everybody to use the chat or the question and answer section of the Zoom platform. And we will share your questions with the presenter at the conclusion of his presentation and entertain and hopefully enter into a real good roundtable discussion here at the end. So that being said, it's my distinct pleasure to welcome and introduce a special person to me, a personal friend of mine, Brian MacMurdo. And I'll allow Brian to pass an introduction to himself and go ahead and take it from there. So, Brian, the floor is all yours.
Great, thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. Well, hello, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and open share my screen here. Like Bob said, my name is Brian MacMurdo. And I come from a public safety background. Majority of my time has been in the PSAP. I live here in Southwest Ohio, and let's see here. There we go. Should see my screen now. And so the majority of my time has been in the PSAP. I was with a multi-jurisdictional center, Hamilton County Communication Center. Started off there as a dispatcher on third shift, telecommunicator, and had worked my way up all the way to operations manager. And so I enjoyed doing that. Done training and supervision on all the shifts, and then was operations manager. So did that and had the opportunity to move into the private sector, and a great opportunity there. And I took that. And so that's been a fun ride, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later on. But I want to thank Datamark for the opportunity to be here with you today, but also to thank them for putting this together. I remember last year conferences were being canceled because of COVID, and the idea was to put out a virtual conference, and I think they were the kind of the trendsetters with that. So that was it was very neat to see everything that happened and was put together last year, and so glad that they did that again this year. And I thought it was really, really cool that they did this during the National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week. So that leads me into another thing that I want to say is thank you to all of you in the public safety telecommunications realm. The work that you do, not many people can do. It's demanding, it's challenging. You guys truly are the calm voice in the midst of the chaos. And today we're talking about adversity. after, I mean, you probably know that word better than anybody else. You have to deal with it on a daily basis, excuse me. So I just want to say thank you for the sacrifices that you make, that you've made during this pandemic. I know that a lot of centers out there are dealing with staffing shortages, and I've heard about a lot of the mandatory overtime and the countless hours that you're putting in. And so I want to thank you. And let's jump right in here. So today I am going to talk to you about adversity, and I titled this talk "Growing Through It." And let's see here if I can get my mouse to work. I want to kind of give you a little roadmap of what we're going to be talking about, so you kind of have an idea of where we're going. We're going to talk about adversity, define it. And I know a lot of people already know what that is, but we're going to define it. We're going to move on to the road of adversity, and in that, I want to share my story. If you've tuned in, I've had the opportunity to do a presentation called "Overcoming Obstacles, Building a Better You," and in that, I've really shared in depth my story. And so I'm gonna give you hopefully a shortened version of that today, but also I've definitely had some other things that have come up, and I want to share with you. So our view and attitudes of adversity is what we'll move to next. Controlling the controllables. With adversity, there's a lot of things that are out of our control, but there are some things that are in it, and so we'll talk about controlling the controllables. And then asking the question, does adversity make you stronger? And then the last and how we'll conclude it is finding ourselves through adversity. So adversity, if there's one thing that's consistent, a consistent theme here on earth, is that no matter what, you're going to deal with adversity. And some things you'll probably hear me say several times throughout this presentation is you can guarantee that someone's either in the midst of adversity, they're coming out of adversity, or they're heading into it. So what is adversity? It's a state or an instance of a serious or a continued difficulty, misfortune. To go a little deeper there, it could be hardships and anguish, pressure, trials, heartache, or disappointments. It can be physical or emotional in nature. It can be long or short in duration, like we were saying up there on top. Again, we're all going to face adversity. Many of us are not strangers to it. And again, someone is either in the midst of it right now. Some of you guys tuning in today, you might be in the thick of it. You might be right in the middle of some of the toughest situations that you've ever been in. Some people are in the midst of it right now. Some people are coming out of it, and some people are heading into it. As we go through our adversity, I like to think of it as we're traveling down a road, and that road can be rough. It can be challenging, lots of potholes and lots of curves in the road. So we travel that road of adversity. But along that road, we also gain experience. We develop a story. And I think it's really important that we not be afraid to share our story. Sometimes I think we can kind of hold to ourselves. I don't know, it may be the situation that you're in. You just may not want people to know about it, or you want to work through things. Sometimes these things can be so challenging to just deal with on your own that you need some help. But sometimes you sharing your story, your trials, your road of adversity, what you've learned, as you've come out of it or as you're in it. I've found over the years that that really can help others who are in the midst of their adversity or who are heading into it. So don't be afraid to share your story. Like I said in the PowerPoint there, it can encourage and help others. And one thing I kind of think about when I talk about this road of adversity and sharing your story, I think of some I'll give you some examples of people I know personally, but then some people in our industry, the public safety industry, some foundations and things that are making huge strides in helping through the tragedy that they've experienced. But I've had a person that I met several years ago doing some Spartan races that we'll talk about Spartan Race here in a little while, but she's got a granddaughter, and her granddaughter has a heart defect, and they created this Facebook group, and they were just sharing the challenges that she had, the victories that she had, and there was times where she was in and out of the hospital, but you would always see a smile on this little child's face, and it was encouraging. They would always be encouraging about what they were posting on there, and so you really got to know this child. And I just recently, it's been about 2 weeks ago, that child passed away, and to see how they've responded to that. Of course they're heartbroken, the parents heartbroken, the grandparents are heartbroken, but how they're that her story, her adversity, what she's went through, how she went through it, is encouraging so many other people, children, and parents, grandparents. So again, their midst of their adversity, their challenges, they're putting out in their experience and sharing their story, and it's helping others. Another one, a guy that I started with, we started on the same day in the 911 center, and he had a brother that had got into college, had a scholarship to play baseball, and they were living up on campus, and he ended up passing away in a fire that was the house that they were living in caught on fire, and he passed away. The loss of my coworker and friend's brother was devastating to him, and I saw how that pained him. And as a couple years passed, he started what they call the A.J. Cohen Memorial Baseball Tournament, and to see how that has turned into something so positive for kids, other baseball players, like his brother was, and how it's helping educate people on campus about structure or house fires and stuff like that, smoke detectors, everything, but also how that's impacting providing scholarships and stuff. So and then I look at people like Nathan Lee. That name rings a bell to many of you tuning in, I'm sure. He experienced the tragic death and loss of his wife, and through that loss, through that pain, through that adversity, he created the Denise Lee Foundation, and that's helping thousands of 911 professionals all over the United States. The Kyle Plush Foundation, Ron and Joe Plush, they lost their son, Kyle, and to see that pain and everything that they've turned around, and now sharing and helping centers all over the United States. The Kyle Plush Answer the Call Foundation, and I think about that too. Their son was a sophomore in high school, and my son is a sophomore in high school, and I think about that loss, and how I could not imagine losing my child, the grief and the pain, and to see how they've taken that they've traveled down their road and they're turning it to good and help others. So just again, another thing to share your story, because it can help and encourage others. So I'm going to show you my story. I'm going to try to be very brief on this. I want to watch the time that we have here, but so I'm throwing it out there. You're going to learn a lot about me today. And I'm the type of person that I don't like seeing my pictures on. So I'm really out of my comfort zone on this. So several years ago, I found myself at an extremely low point in my life. I was in a dark place. My weight was out of control. I was tipping the scales at 430 pounds. I was stressed out to the max with my job. I was dealing with sick parents. My mom and dad, my wife's parents were also having some health issues. And so just there was a ton of stuff that I was having to deal with at the time. And so I felt overwhelmed and definitely dealing with adversity. I go back to a point where I realized that I needed help. I realized I was stressed, I was depressed, and I remember sitting out on the truck bed with all these thoughts going through my head. I had dealt with some traumatic stuff at the 911 center. Line of duty deaths. Managing a shift through that. Calls that still ring in my head sometimes. And I know that many of you tuning in know what I'm talking about. I know many of you have been there too. But I thought a lot about those things, all these thoughts just going around in my head. And I got to a point where I needed to talk to somebody. I was reaching out to people, to friends, and they weren't answering. And the time I was reaching out, it was late at night. So I didn't expect them to, but I just felt alone. And I'm going to be completely transparent and honest with you. I did have some irrational thoughts. I didn't do anything irrational that night, but I was at rock bottom. I went back in the house, and over the next several days, it was just hard to just get out of bed. So I knew that I needed help. I knew I was at a crossroads, and there was a lot of things that that all culminated to that moment, that time. And again, just trying to be very brief with my story. I had a great childhood. I had parents that loved me, and I was very blessed to have that. And my dad, he was definitely a hard worker. Lived and breathed his work. I know he was working hard to provide for our family, to give us the ability to have a house and vehicles, and he was working hard to do that. He put a lot of time, energy into work. I know it was stressful for him, and my dad didn't drink or do drugs or anything like that, but I think the way he coped with his stress was really through eating. And as time went on, he was morbidly obese, and that was a challenge, and his health was impacted by it. His ultimately his job was impacted by it. And at his highest weight, he was just under 700 pounds. So he was a very big guy. but again, this all had a significant impact on our family. As a kid, we didn't go to Major League Baseball games. We didn't go to amusement parks, and I say all that because where I found myself was that I was traveling down that road. I had 430 pounds. I was starting to, have to strategically place my kids in the baseball seats so I wasn't taking up room by the, to other fans sitting next to me. It wasn't fair to my kids. But we didn't go to amusement parks when I was a kid either. Not with my dad, because he couldn't take us there. And I remember, this is one story I do share, is taking my kids to the amusement park, and I could still walk around and everything. But my oldest son wanted to ride his first roller coaster, and I got in line with him, and I had in my mind, I'm going to ride the roller coaster with him. And as we got through the line, I was comparing myself to other people, other big guys, and thinking, oh, I'm not going to have a problem getting in there. So it came to our turn, and we're getting in there. And my son gets in and strapped in, and I sit in there and kind of maneuver myself and get squished in there. And they put the latch down, and it wouldn't latch. And they tried again, and I was just sitting there thinking, just do whatever you got to do to latch that thing. I just want to get this, I want to get on this and do it. I don't want to have to get off. And my son's sitting there watching, and they're trying, and then they finally tell me I've got to get off the ride. And I don't know, it still gets me to this day. But I don't know if you've seen disappointment in your child's eyes, but I did that day. And as I got off there, I could not ride that ride with him. And some other person came in and sat in that seat that I was supposed to. But that tore me up. And so with my daughter, I was going through some old pictures over the past couple of weeks, and I found these when you ride those roller coasters, they snap the pictures, and I found actually her first roller coaster ride. I was too big to even try to get on there. I didn't get to ride that with her. And I'm going to pop this picture up here. I've never showed anybody this one before, so you guys are getting a special treat. But my daughter's there right in the front, and I don't think that was actually the front row, the front cart, the very front cart, but she's there, and that is my brother-in-law with her. But that was her first ride, and I tell you, this picture, I love it, but it also makes me sad because I couldn't be there. And you look at her face, just fear and probably excitement and everything. And she loves riding roller coasters, so she's always doing it now. But I look at that, and I can't live in the past, but that was something I missed out on. And it may sound silly to some like, oh, it's just a roller coaster, Brian, but that was a special moment, and I missed out on that, and it was important to me. But that ultimately really drew me to a place where I knew I had to do something. Work, again, stressful, dealing with a lot of stuff there, home and everything else. I came to that crossroad. I had to do something. And what I first started to do was I ended up talking to somebody, just unloading some of the stuff that I was holding and compartmentalizing and pushing down. The line of duty death, some of that stuff. I was making sure everybody else was okay, but putting myself last. And one thing I always kind of think of is, you hear on airplanes, make sure you put your mask on first before you put your child's mask on or anybody else's. I look at, we've got to do a better job of, especially in public safety, taking care of ourselves, so we can care for those who are important to us. So I hope that's resonating with some of you out there, and even not just talking, just the comm center, the emergency communication center, but I think that goes for everybody, all of us, all humans. But so I started talking. I went to EAP, or Employee Assistance Program, and I had 10 free visits and talked to this guy, and I tell you, it was just unloading a bunch of stuff, and I felt a lot better doing that. But I also realized, as far as my weight went, I've tried diets, I've lost weight, I've gained weight, and I went back and forth. And so I talked to my primary care doctor, and we began discussing, and I began looking into weight loss surgery. And that as time went on, that was something I decided to do. And I do want to just throw this out there, because I think sometimes people can think, oh, you're taking the easy way out, or maybe that was just my thought, as I was getting ready to do this, that everybody's going to think I'm taking the easy way out, but it's not an easy way, and it's challenging, and I'm years out from that, but it's still a struggle. I still have found myself really having to watch what I eat. So it's very challenging. It's not an easy road. But as I lost weight, as I really mentally was like, I'm going to look at this. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to do my absolute best, and grow from this. And somehow I came across some people. We got in, I got into this group of training for a Spartan, and I did the Spartan Race. And so as I did this, one, I thought there's no way I could do it. And as I started training and preparing, and got encouragement from these people, that I was just meeting for the first time, got encouragement from them. I really worked hard. And so the pictures that you can see there were some of the first Spartans that I did do. And what's crazy is out there on this course. So the Spartan Race, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's an obstacle course race, kind of like a mud run, and they have the different levels. So they have the sprint, which is like 4 miles and 25 obstacles, the super, which is like 8 miles and about 30 obstacles, 28 to 30, and then the beast, which is like 13 miles and 30 obstacles. So very challenging. But out there on the course, I started to realize and recognize that there's a lot of similarities to life out here. We're going to come up against things. We're going to see things that we just don't think we can overcome. And just like you see in that picture right there in the middle, I looked at that and it's like, there is no way I'm going to be able to get up that. But as you get encouragement, as you get help, as you grow and allow people to help you, you're able to accomplish more than you think you're able to. And so that is really something that with Spartan, it had taught me. One, you got to get out of your comfort zone. One, you're going to face things that you just, you're not going to know how to overcome. You're going to look at it and you're going to think, I can't do it. But it really put a lot of things into perspective for me. I began to realize that I am capable more than what I thought I was capable of. And I can do this. I can get through it. So I wanted to throw these pictures up here. This was the one there on the left with me, was my first beast. So that was 13 miles, 30 obstacles. Thought so many times I was going to die during that. Literally painful to take one step, put one foot in front of the other towards the end there. But I was doing it. And I tell you, as I was doing that, I was thinking about my kids. I was thinking about, I wanted them to see their dad be able to accomplish this, one, but I wanted them to know that they could do anything they could put their mind to, and they could overcome the challenges that they're up against. So, there were so many things that were just going through my head and pushing me towards that finish line. But as I came over, and I was coming over to the finish line, and right there you can see, you might not be able to see, but there's a fire that you have to jump over. And it was raining that day, so there's not much. So it was not, fortunately, not a bad, it wasn't very hard to jump over that. But as I looked over there, I saw my family, and they were cheering me on, and I couldn't help but tear up and just be pretty emotional as I was crossing that finish line. I grew stronger mentally and physically through that. And again, this is really kind of short and sweet and kind of, throwing it at you really quick, but I share that because, from where I was, rock bottom, to where I was, and actually, like that picture up there with the medal, that was a major, as far as Spartan goes, a major accomplishment for me. It really tested my mental and physical ability. I did the beast, the super, and the sprint all in one weekend. So that's about 26 miles and 75 obstacles. And it was in West Virginia, so in the mountains. It was extremely difficult. And I remember, and I'll just share this too. I remember I had an interview, a final interview. This was for the job to go into the private sector. And the final interview was the day after this race. So I had told that person when I was going to be interviewing, we were interviewing like at 7 a.m, face to face. And I said, I may be sore. I may be walking in kind of, stiff-legged and stuff. And, I'm just going to be completing this race and everything. So anyway, that was just a little extra for you, but that was a major accomplishment. And I look at all that, I look at where, where I was to where I came to that point. And I truly believe that going through all that adversity, going through those challenges, helped me, has strengthened me for what I was going to be experiencing in 20 and 21. It's been difficult. My dad, I was talking about him, and you're gonna have to forgive me if I get a little choked up here. It's still somewhat fresh. It's just, about 8 months now that he had passed away. But he, like I said, he had health issues throughout most of his life. But back, December of 2019, 2020, I can't remember the exact, it would have been December of 2020. We found out that he had an aggressive stage of lung cancer. He was dealing with some other health issues, but we found out that this was a significant issue that was, where they were going to try to treat, but it wasn't very promising. And so, as we worked through that, he was a fighter, and I had the opportunity to be with him. That the picture with his thumbs up, he would get infusions, and I was fortunate to be able to have the opportunity to be able to work and be able to work remotely in a place where I could sit there next to him and be with him and get those infusions. And of course, this was just prior to COVID. So, that kind of changed things on us, but he was a fighter, and I miss him a lot, especially during baseball season. He was a huge St. Louis Cardinal fan, and I am as well. My kids are, and so anyway, it's been challenging. Many of you have probably experienced that adversity of losing a loved one, or dealing with somebody that is ill, has got a terrible diagnosis, and you're going through it right now. Take the time, and share and talk and enjoy that time with them. The one thing I realize, you may not comprehend it until it's like coming down to the last minute, but is how truly quickly life goes by. And so I encourage you to make the most of it. So that was definitely adversity that we were up against. I've not lost a parent before. This was my mom's still with us. My dad, I've not lost anybody in the immediate family. So to have him, a great man, pass away, was very difficult. And I struggled through that. And another one that I'll just be very brief about, but another thing that has happened, and another road of adversity has been in February. I went from the public, the comm center, and came into the private sector, and definitely wanted to help on a grander scale, and that was really something that drew me to the private sector, was that having the ability to help centers, to help communities all over the United States and beyond, having the ability to do that and making an impact that way. But in February of this year, I was notified that our company was going to do a workforce reduction, and that I was one of those that were going to be let go. There's going to be laid off. And so, as I got that call, and I realized some of you on the phone, maybe, I don't know if there's many in the private sector, I don't know if many of you have experienced that, but that phone call, that that meeting, whatever it is, it's just it's kind of gets your heart into your stomach. And that was the case for me. I remember just putting my hands in my head and listening and trying to comprehend what was being said, but just hearing that first part. And I share that because I know that 2020 has been challenging for everybody, businesses, centers, so many people having to work the mandatory overtime, work extra shifts and all that. I know that there's so much adversity, so many things that we're having to deal with and go through just to make it through. At the moment I got that call, I was thinking worst case scenarios. But we have a choice. We can sit there and we can wallow in it and be down and out, or we can look at it as an opportunity for growth. And that's going to just move us right into this next slide here. Our views and attitude on adversity. So often that we look at adversity as a detriment, and we can feel so overwhelmed by it. We really need to change that view. And that's easy to say, when things are going good and everything's rosy and great. But when it's hard, when you're in the midst of it, that's where it's going to be really, really difficult to change that mindset, to view adversity as a challenge to succeed, a challenge to grow. And I will tell you that, again, I was thinking with the job, worst case scenarios. I was, my family, we're going to be out on the streets. We're going to be the absolute worst case scenarios. But maybe I thought about that for like maybe a day or two or three. But I realized, what, I can't keep thinking like that. I got to look at it a different way. And that's what I did. I set the family down, I set the kids down, and kids, they are so, my youngest said, "Dad, who died?" He didn't know what was going on, but he's like, "Dad, who died?" And he's like, "Nobody died," but we explained what the situation was, and they have been so amazing through this. But I started looking at things differently. I've got to grow. I've got to, this is an opportunity to succeed. This is one door closing, another opening. And I don't know why I share everything. You guys, you get to learn way too much about me. But I guess I just throw it all out there for the whole world to see. But one thing I started doing was just different YouTube videos and stuff. And I would actually listen, just listen to the videos. I wouldn't be watching the videos. But man, some of these things where, it'd be like The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and he would be talking about, you got to get up at 4 a.m. and your battles against the alarm clock. And, here I am not working now. I could, sleep in until I have to take the kids to school. But man, it just kept like 4 o'clock. My battles against 4 o'clock in the morning. And, I want to get back. I got to get back rocking and rolling, like get back in shape and stuff like this. So, 4 o'clock, I've been waking up and working out and, sometimes going out to the park and just walking out there. But anyway, I say that because we really have that opportunity. We can look at this, look at adversity as just the impossible, not able to pass through. We can bury our heads in the sand just like that guy is there, or we can grow. We can learn from it, and it can be that opportunity, that challenge to succeed. So real quick too, when you come up against it, don't be afraid to frame. I mean, just if you can frame the problem, you can look at it. Don't go immediately to the worst case scenario, but frame it, no matter how big that problem is. And I hope my computer is not causing any issues here. I don't know if you guys can see all that. All right, there we go. So I'm going to move through here pretty quick. But look at the avenues of support. You've got friends, you've got family, you've got people that want to help you, and don't be afraid to. I don't know if I'm still sharing. Bob, if you're on there, just let me know if I'm still sharing.
Yeah, Brian, you're good.
All right, thank you. Just my computer looked like it was acting up on me. And then I want to encourage you guys, look for avenues of support. You've got friends, you got family, you've got people that want to help you and see you succeed. Don't be afraid to reach out to them. And then positive mindset, enduring optimism and hope. You are going to make it through it. This is going to be a challenging time, but you're going to grow in it, and you're going to be stronger than what you were when you went into the adversity. So again, we're going to move a little bit quick here, but things happen in life. We all know that things will happen that are out of our control. We do want to control the controllables. There's going to be things that we can control. So the specific things or things that you can do to build what you can control, build on what you can control. So we're going to control the controllables, the specific thing that you can do to build on what you can control. And then you're going to build on what you can control, but you're going to learn to manage what you can't control. So that can be challenging at times, but really we need to take control of what we can. So ways to control the controllables: identify the controllables and the uncontrollables. Just get it out there. Accept the things that you can't control. It's just gonna be things that you can't do anything about. Don't let that stretch out or get you in a bad place. Define your step-by-step actions, develop that action plan on how you're going to get there, how you're going to do it. Control your mindset. That can be very challenging, but look at how you view it. Is it impossible, or is it possible? And I'd encourage you with that. Change that mindset. Control it. The impossible versus the impossible. And then so important here, surround yourself with the right people, positive people who are going to lift you up, people who care about you and will help you, people who want to see you succeed. Get rid of the negativity. And I know that can be difficult too when you have people that have been around but I want to encourage you, get around those people that are positive, that want to see you succeed, that are heading the same direction you want to head. And so as we go through it, growing through it, I like this here: storms make trees take deeper roots. I thought that was good quote by Dolly Parton. But does adversity make you stronger? I would just, yes, it does. It's hard going through it. It sucks going through it, but it does make you stronger. In the midst of adversity, we're all going to face crisis. We're all going to face adversity. It's going to be difficult in that moment to imagine that the experience will eventually lead to some type of growth, that it's going to make you stronger. It's going to be hard to think that, because your mind's going to be worst case scenario most often than not. But as you are going through there, I hope that maybe today some of these things that you're hearing will help you remember when you're in the midst or heading into it, or you're in the midst of it, that these things will help you. It's going to be difficult at the moment to imagine that there can be growth, you can experience growth through it, but you can. So past adversities, they can help you persevere. It can help you become more resilient in the following ways. So past adversities, you're going to grow in them, but it can help you. Past adversities can help you become more resilient in the following ways. It can increase your empathy. You'll have a greater ability to understand the situation or issue from another person's perspective, and be able to react with compassion. It'll trigger growth and positive change, which may provide renewed appreciation for life, enhanced personal strength, more meaningful relationships, and spiritual growth. They build confidence. So past experiences, adversity, they build confidence in your ability to overcome obstacles and challenge you to succeed. And then they help you find the good. Finding the upside to adversity changes the way we're able to cope with things. We look for support. We have more hope for the future. And we are often able to deal with stress a little bit better. So past adversity helps us reframe stress as challenges. How you think about stress matters enormously in terms of how you process it. And some people, they view stress as a threat, while others are able to view it as a challenge. And that, if you can get into that place, is a very powerful place. So hopefully that information helps you. And then as we get close to winding down here, I wanted to share this, and I was debating on doing it, but I thought it was pretty good. And I'll tell you kind of what it reminded me of when we get in here. But adversity cycles, we grow. There's no doubt about it. We get stronger through adversity. Before adversity, your comfort zone's small, your growth zone's small, but your freak out zone, I love that. Your freak out zone is predominant right there. As you're going through adversity, you're getting out of your comfort zone. You're in the growth zone, and your freak out zone is getting a lot smaller. And then after adversity, that comfort zone, you can see, has expanded. It's grown. You've gotten stronger. You're able to deal with more adversity, and then your growth zone's bigger, and your freak out zone. Look at that. Your freak out zone is a lot smaller. And I was thinking about this a little bit. It kind of made me think about my first traffic pursuit or foot pursuit. And I know some of the telecommunicators out there and people that have been in the business, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, that first one where you first hear that officer come on yelling and screaming, "I'm in foot pursuit." I mean, your heart sinks into your stomach. For me, it was like, man, I'm in freak out zone right now. But as I experienced more of those, as I dealt with more and I got more experience, I became stronger. My comfort zone grew. I was able to handle that with those things without getting too freaked out. So that was one little thing that I thought about with that. I want to take a look at this pencil, and you're going to have to bear with me here on this one. Just go with me on it. I know it's going to sound maybe a little bit crazy, but I promise it's going to hopefully make an impact on you. But if we look at this pencil, we know that pencil, for it to be useful, it's got to for it to be useful for it to fulfill its purpose, to do what it was created to do, it's got to be resharpened. It's got to be sharpened, and then it's got to be resharpened. And I always think about, I'm sure they do still make them, but I always think about like 4th or 5th grade when I had to take my pencil and do it manually. I think now most of them are electric. But anyway, if that pencil could feel, think about how painful that resharpening would be. But that's what it takes for that pencil to be a useful pencil. For it to do what it was made to do, it has to be resharpened. And life is pretty much the same way. Adversity, painful experiences, and challenges, they come to us all, and with adversity, through adversity, It builds us. It builds our character. We grow in that, and then we will be able to correct mistakes. Many of the mistakes that we've made along the way. And just like the eraser, so if we learn from our mistakes, they're not mistakes. I know many people probably heard that before. If we learn from our mistakes, they're not mistakes, they're lessons. And we can use those lessons to do better the next time around. So think about that pencil. All right, I got a video here, and then we're going to be just finishing up here. But I want you guys to watch this.
Life can throw you some curves. And it's not just the things that you see coming, but sometimes it's the things that you didn't see coming that hit you out of nowhere, that set you back in such a way that it seems like you can't get over. And you've reached your limit, and your bandwidth is full. You already said, I can't take another thing. And then out of nowhere, here comes something you didn't see coming, and you're in it.
And in your homes, somewhere in your heart, these words are echoing. Am I going to make it?
When you get into a tight spot and everything goes against you until it seems that you cannot hold on for a minute longer, never give up then, for that is just the place and time that the tide will turn. There are times when your energy feels so depleted that you want to give up, that it looks just totally impossible. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, don't give up then. That's when you've got to fall forward, when life is kicking dirt in your face. Don't give up then. That's when most people turn back.
As long as you're alive, there is hope.
You're still alive. You're still here.
It's never too late, and it's never too dark, and we can always turn things around.
There's going to be bad days, there's going to be dark days, but you got to embrace it, because that pain is what makes you stronger.
Pain is the high cost of growth. If you want to grow up, you want to be mature, there is no way to do it without pain. You can't grow up on easy street. And the very thing that discourages you is the very thing that develops you.
No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save you. The only person that's going to make a drastic change in your life, whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the only person that is going to dig you out of your hole is who? You. You have to do it for you.
You've got to become courageous to stand up within yourself, to face it and step forward.
We all get a taste of that victim mentality, the why me? You can become the victim of the situation or the victor of the situation. You need to be the master of your emotions, not let them affect you. You are the dictator. You are the captain of your boat, whether you let things affect you in a negative way or a positive way. I don't lose. I only win or learn. In life, there's only winning or learning. All your problems become gifts once you learn from them.
And some of you have allowed adversity to make you stop. And I'm telling you right now, don't give up. I'm telling you right now, don't give in. Get through it. Execute, execute, execute. In the midst of adversity, execute. You're going to work through this. You're going to get up. You're going to get dressed. You're going to get out. And you're going to do what you've been called to do. You're going to be what you called to be. And you're going to prove to everybody that tried to break you, everybody that tried to kill your dream, you're going to prove all of them wrong. And if you can work through your pain, I'm guaranteeing you, on the other side is a reward. Pain is not permanent. Pain is temporary.
The struggle that maybe some of you are in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow. So don't give up. I hope that some of the information that you got today is helpful as you're either in the midst of adversity, as you're coming out and stronger from it, or as you're getting ready to head into it. Thank you guys for the opportunity. And I've got my contact info on there. If you guys ever need anything, if you have any further questions or anything, feel free to connect with me, email me, whatever you want to do. So I wish you all the absolute best. And Bob, if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
There are no questions. I'm absolutely speechless. So I've had the opportunity to work with Brian over the years, and I've heard Brian's story. I heard it last year. I've heard it through personal conversations. This is hands down probably one of the most powerful presentations that I've attended a number of years. Brian, it's an absolute honor to share the time with you today. Thanks for sharing your story and motivating and encouraging us to look beyond the adversity, look at the reward, keep pushing, never let anything put us down. And I think now more than ever, this is the message I think we needed to hear, and we appreciate that. It's the top of the hour, and wow, man, Brian, nice job, man. You got me speechless. I want to thank Brian for his time. I know this presentation was put together with a lot of sincerity and a lot of emotion, and it's tough to put it out there on a national, and in this case, an international platform. So I want to thank Intelitech, our sponsor for today's session. I would invite everybody to please connect with Brian. LinkedIn is a powerful network for us to build relationships. I'd also invite everybody to join us now over at the closing ceremonies. Share with you some statistics about the DataMark Rise virtual conference this year, but also to our award ceremony where we will recognize several of the PSAPs that nominated to receive either 24 hours of catering or some additional gifts for some of their attendees as well. So hop on over there. I know they're firing the opening ceremonies up, so I'd encourage everybody to join us over there. Again, Brian, thanks for everything that you've done for us, and we appreciate that, and hope everybody's well.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Good luck, everybody. Have a great day.